I am here and I am, golly, with some legends. Legends. I'd like to introduce my guests. They're the chairman of the board, 2018.
Hmm.
Okay, speaking to Mike, Brandon, and talk.
I'm Brandon Stevens.
I'm Ken Knox.
And I'm Thomas Hunter.
Okay, I am so happy that you all came here. You're from South Carolina.
Correct?
You live in South Carolina.
But I'm from Detroit.
Yes, he went to Western
I
High
went to
School.
Western High School, yeah.
And you're originally from Florida.
Yes, I am.
Oh, that's great. That is great. I just feel real national right now. But I also feel like I'm 21 years old, and I mean I'm jamming to the songs of the chairman of the board.
Yeah.
And this is great. We're going to talk a little history because General Johnson
Absolutely.
started the chairman of the board, right?
Him and Danny Woods.
He and Danny Woods, and both passed on. I think Danny died about a month ago, didn't he?
January the 12th.
Oh, it's been that long?
Yep, January the 12th.
It seems like I was just saying Happy New Year, and it's already March,
already
almost
March.
the middle of March yet
Yes.
already. So why don't you, Ken, give us a little history lesson?
Well, actually, Chairman of the Board was formed in 1969.
Okay.
Um, they were one of my favorite groups when I was going to school and everything. I remember that they were so different. It was four guys. I remember that I used to go see them perform at like, remember the concerts used to be downtown Detroit?
Of course.
All right, so a friend of mine was a basketball player, was the center for our team, and I couldn't see because there's so many people. So he said, Ken, get on my shoulders. And and he's like 6'8", and he put me on the shoulders that I can see this, and I love what I saw because you had four individual singers. They were not doing routines, but they were just extraordinary. And to this day, I feel blessed to be a part of Chairman of the Board, which thanks to McKinley Jackson over here
Mac.
had something to do with it. But and Danny Woods. In fact, what happened was we played in the club. McKinley's brother was running. I can't remember the name of the club.
What
But
was the
anyway,
club, McKinley, your brother ran?
Mad Anthony's. And I remember Danny Woods came in because I was with the group here called the Impacts, and Jerome knows about that. And so Danny Woods said, "Look, man, we are going to go on tour. I'd like for you to come down and audition." So I said, "Okay," and I go there, and I'm intimidated because the band was the Funkadelics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, there's Eddie Hazel, Bernie Worrell, Tiki Fullwood, Billy Bass, and McKinley Jackson on trombone. So long story short, I am very fortunate to be a part of a situation that has lasted forever. And my promise to General and Danny was the legacy will continue.
And it has continued with Brandon and Thomas, correct? Now,
That's
I
correct.
do know that in 1978 you joined. No, you joined before then, didn't you?
74.
74. Yes, you joined. And tell me what was beach music?
Well, it was back in, okay, the term beach music came from the fact that you could only hear it in the beach area of South Carolina. Basically, there was a racial thing. The kids could only hear beach music, R&B music, when they went to the beach.
Really?
Yes.
I'm
And
glad I didn't grow up down there. I was born down there, but I came back home at 6 weeks, so I didn't know the difference.
And so beach music is nothing but R&B music. It was Motown, it was Stax, but the kids couldn't get it because their parents didn't want them listening to this devil's music.
Wow.
So when they went to the beach, they got all they want.
Oh, right. So, with that, well, I want to play, before we get any further, I want to play a video that has Chairman of the Board the originals on it, okay?
Yes.
Okay, as soon as he gets that ready, we'll do that. But in the meantime, because I'm wondering how you got to South Carolina from Detroit, you know. So as soon as we get that on,
Okay.
it'll come. But in the meantime, we'll talk until it does come on.
Okay.
So how did you get to South Carolina?
Well, General was with this group called the Showmen back in the day, and he said, "Look, you know, we were tired of the rat race of having records out every 30 days, you know, and when you tour nationally and stuff like that. So he said there's a market for us that we could probably flourish in, and so we came south, and we started a recording company in Charlotte, North Carolina called Surfside Records. So we had our own label, and so that brought us south.
Because there were several labels that you were with prior to that, right?
Well, only one, Invictus Records.
Oh, yeah, that was started by Holland Dozier Holland.
Correct. And then when we went south, I think that was in '76, we started Surfside Records. And
Surf, that always reminds me of California. So, well, why don't I ask Brandon, what was your background?
My background was R&B, soul. I had started my own band with some college friends, so I was performing around Charlotte, North Carolina, and then a mutual friend of mine and Ken's, who was featured as a rap artist on a dance song that Ken did. He told me that Ken was looking for a new background singer for the band, so I auditioned in the summer of 2012, and I didn't get the call initially to join the band, but then Ken called me back a few months later after I gave him a little money under the table. And,
you gave money? Okay.
No, just kidding. Nah, he brought me into the band in the fall of 2012.
Oh, great. What about you, Thomas?
Well, it was almost the same situation because I became a member of the chairman of the board through a mutual friend of Ken's also. And he had heard some work that I had done earlier and told me that Ken Knox was looking for someone. But I'll tell you, when I came in to audition for Ken Knox, I was just so overwhelmed by his hair.
By his hair? Oh, my God.
Just joking. I'm just kidding. But that's how I became a member of the chairman of the board, through a mutual friend also. I had been doing some things around in the city also. And I had been...
which city?
In the city of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, okay. Because I wondered about that, because at first I heard you were in North Carolina and then South Carolina. I said, gee whiz. So I just kind of want to bring the audience back to where you are with the original, because General Johnson's voice was so different.
Very unique, very unique.
Give me just a little more. I mean, it was like he had hiccups.
Yeah.
And it was just great.
General and Danny both had, Danny had that Jackie Wilson kind of voice. Right, McKinley?
That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
He had that Jackie Wilson kind of voice. And General had a Levi sounding voice.
Oh, wow.
Because at one point, the story goes that they wanted General to take Levi's place.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Well, let me tell you this real quick. One of my girlfriends was at Wayne State when Give Me Just a Little More Time was out, and she said I was late with the paper, and I went to the teacher and said, give me just a little more time. I said, seriously.
Summertime. July. Sun is shining, 98 degrees. Hot sand, ocean, got the beer, But none of that don't mean nothing to now one of these guys out here. I know why every one of them go down to that beach, down there looking for them Carolina girls. Oh! All you guys planning on getting something tonight, you better clap your hands like you like this song, boy. Oh! Carolina girls. but pearl. Sugar not touch, I can't get enough of you, sweet Carolina girl. Skip me just a little more time, and I love the shooting drum. You're young, get in a habit, eager for love, but don't y'all worry. We both want the sweetness in life, but these things don't come overnight. Don't give up, cause love seems slow. Girl, we gonna succeed with the number blow. Give me a little more time, and I love the shooting girl. Just baby, please, please, baby, please, please, my heart was a lonely house with strangers wandered in and out till Tuesday. Many loves have come and gone, but days running on like a marathon till Tuesday. Everything is Tuesday, feeling light, head and roots in it. Everything's been rosy since today's sweet Tuesday chose me. I wanna thank her, I wanna thank this girl.
Danny Woods, General Johnson. I mean, just an amazing sound.
Absolutely.
And I saw you on that saxophone.
Yeah, I play saxophone sometimes. And our crowd, man, when we hit the stage back then and now, it was so energized. If you notice, the music was just like this.
Right.
And because that's what those people like. They like energy. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So, how was it? Because you look like you're 15 years old. How was it learning all this music, or did you have an appreciation for classic music like this?
I've been into classic R&B for a while, but it did take me a while to learn the songs because there were a lot of complex harmonies in the background, so that's what I started doing in the band, was singing background.
Okay, we have a call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a call from here. Good morning.
Good morning. And who am I speaking to again?
Yeah, this is Robert J. Nick White.
Robert J. Nick White. You know
I know
him?
that voice.
Oh, you know him?
Yes. Hey, Robert, how you doing, man?
Oh, pretty good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing better, man. We're here on the Brenda Perryman show, so we're fine.
Well, listen, we want to get some history. Who is? Tell me about that relationship.
Robert played trombone with us back, back in the day. Golly, in the middle 70s, right, Robert?
That's right. Give me just a little more time.
No, trombone, Robert.
Son, I'm depending on your son.
Oh. Trombone, Robert. Trombone.
I don't have that around right now.
Wow. Well, thanks for calling, Robert. Do you have a comment or question?
Well, basically, it's a three-part question, and the question is basically, do you have a new tune out, or are you going to get a new tune out, and when you might be performing here in Detroit?
You said, do we have new music out?
Yeah, and yes, that's right. And when you plan on performing here in Detroit?
Yeah, he said, their new music, you're going to hear a cut of that in just a few minutes. And also, when are you going to come to Detroit and perform?
Whoa, we've been wanting to come to Detroit for, 6, 7, 8 years. And, hey, if any promoters out there, we're here.
And I like to say that there's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful group. I love the way they sound, and they'll put on a hell of a show wherever they perform.
Right. Well, we'll speak it into existence, can't we?
There you go. That's what we got to make happen.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Robert.
Thanks for calling, Robert. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Y'all guys have a good day there.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Linda on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. I just thought in and I saw the video, and I remember when I used to come visit here in Detroit in the 70s, and I know they used to play the music a lot. And I used to love the song, I'm the chairman of the board.
Yes.
And I was just wondering because I tuned in late, what happened to the lead singer?
Oh, Harrison Kennedy? Harrison Kennedy's
I guess
over.
that was his name, because we always used to tease my brother-in-law and say they look identical to each other.
With the big afro, right?
Yes, with the big afro.
So does Maxwell. So Harrison is still performing. He's over in Canada.
Oh, okay.
He left in I think in '74. That's how I came into the group. But
Okay. So are you all going to get back together and just kind of tour a little bit? Because I like to go and see the 70s group and early group. So are you all going to come back together and perform?
General Johnson, who was the leader of the group, passed away. And then also Danny Woods passed away. And Ken was with the group. Ken's still here. He's kind of taking the lead on the group, I think.
Okay.
And we're trying to get him here to Detroit to perform.
That's right. Come on, because I would love to see you all perform.
hey, we would love to
And
be.
I'm going to get off and continue to listen.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So you learned the music. You like the music anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's good. It's good R&B music. It's even though-
authentic.
Yeah, it's Detroit. It's Motown soul. I mean, it's Motown, that good old school R&B music.
I know you can't beat it with a stick. What about you?
Well, I've always heard of the chairman of the board.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I knew a lot of the chairman of the board material because unlike Brandon, I'm a little bit older than Brandon is,
Yeah.
and I have a little bit more familiarity with the music. And actually, I knew of Ken Knox before I ever met him.
Oh.
I never had the pleasure of meeting General Norman Johnson. I met Danny Woods. God bless and rest him all in heaven.
Peace.
And I'm really grateful for this great legacy that they left behind, that Mr. Knox, Ken Knox, is continuing.
And you all are carrying it on. Well, you all have a new album out, right?
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
It's called Words Left Unsaid, written by Mervyn Stills, and McKinley Jackson.
We'll have them on the coming up shortly.
He has a copy of it.
Oh, and he has a copy of it, and we'll get it. You'll bring it up here. You'll bring it up here when you come.
Right. So yeah, new EP out. It's doing wonders.
Okay, Michelle, do we have a call? Yes. Who? Anthony. Good morning. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
That's great. Do you have a question or comment?
Well, I have one question for Mr. Knox.
Yes?
Yes.
Come on. Yes?
Who's the best in the West?
Who's the best in the West?
I don't know.
The Big CO.
Who?
Western High School.
Western High School.
You went to Western. Oh yeah, Western High School, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys were the best in
Yes.
the West.
Nice.
Cowboys. Go Cowboys.
Yeah. Good, Hetty. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. We have a call from England right now. So thank you so much for calling. And now I know who's the best in the West. Thank you.
Okay.
So
Blessed day, guys.
Thanks,
thank
Hetty.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Neil calling from England.
Oh my goodness.
Good morning, Neil.
Hey, Brenda. Hey, Ken.
Hey, what's going on, Neil? How you doing?
How you doing, Neil?
I'm good,
Hello,
mate.
Neil.
Good.
Okay, speak up a little louder, Neil.
Sorry. Yeah, I can't see the TV here, but I knew they were on, so I had to call. And you've got McKinley there as well.
Yes, McKinley will be on shortly. Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The guys are over in April, and there's a lot of people waiting for them.
A lot of people what, Neil?
A lot of people waiting for us in the UK.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to go see them in England when they come?
Of course.
Of course. How's Jackie?
She's good. She's watching at home.
Oh.
Hey, Jackie.
Hey, Jackie.
Jacqueline.
Yeah, Jacqueline.
So I'm so happy you called. Did you have a comment besides the fact that you all are waiting on pins and needles for the chairman of the board to get there?
Yes, yeah.
Well, the
line's not very good, Brenda, I'm afraid.
Well, thank you so much. Neil, he made our Table Talk T-shirts, and I have 2 Table Talk hats.
Nice.
He is just a master, and I thank you. I can thank you by just telling
Oh, yeah.
me.
I mean, all of our hats and shirts and sweatshirts, Neil, you made them for you guys, too, as well. Yeah, Neil's the man. Thank you, Neil.
I'm from Old Philly.
Neil, what part of England are you in?
What part? Midlands.
The Midlands.
Oh, okay.
Wolverhampton.
Birmingham is probably the closest that you'd know.
Well, we're going to get ready to go transition. I want to show their new video so you can see it. And
okay.
And I'll talk to you soon.
We'll see you, Neil.
Look, guys, see you soon.
See you in April.
Okay. See you in a
I
little
wish
while.
I could go. Anyway, if we have words left unsaid ready, I'd like to play that.
Oh, if I had only taken the time to say the words that you so desperately wanted to hear. Today, I'd be a happy man. Instead of sitting here all by myself, alone, shedding tear after tear.
Morning is breaking, and so is my heart. It ain't stopped aching since we've been apart. I can't stand waking in this empty bed, constantly thinking of words left unsaid. I'm constantly thinking of words left unsaid. My eyes examine each part of the room. Each holds a memory and feelings of gloom. I can't stand waking in this empty bed, constantly thinking of words left unsaid. I'm constantly thinking of words left unsaid.
I wish that I could climb into the sky and turn back the hands of time to the days when you were mine. But it's too late. The fickle hand of fate took you away from me before I could make you see. Deep in my heart, there's a love so true, a special kind of love, and I'm saving it just for you. Just for you.
Darkness is falling, and so are my tears. Your name I'm calling, but nobody hears. I can't stand sleeping in this lonely bed. I'm constantly thinking of words left unsaid. I'm constantly
I love that that song. I love that song.
Oh, man.
Constantly thinking about words left unsaid.
There you go.
And so many of us have had those times when we should have said something.
Absolutely, and we wish we had.
Yeah.
Great song that Melvin and Mervyn wrote, and McKinley's arrangement and production.
Well, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we're going to go to a break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes, just a couple minutes, a minute, with McKinley Jackson and Melvin Steele.
Constantly thinking, said I'm thinking, baby. Said I can't stand it, no. Constantly thinking, I should've told you, baby. Said I'm constantly thinking about the things I should've said. Around in my head, running around in my head. Why didn't I tell you, girl?
Brothers, never be ashamed or afraid to say, I love you to the one you really love. Always take the time to let her know that she's the only one that you are thinking of. Leave no words unsaid.
Why didn't I tell you? Oh, yeah. Dark thoughts keep running. Said these dark thoughts keep running through my head, baby. I'm constantly thinking of words left unsaid. Dark thoughts keep running around in my...
I am back. I told you the show was legendary. I have the legendary Mr. Melvin Steele, who with his twin brother wrote, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love with Your Baby? Was with your baby in the song?
No, they put it in there.
That was because everybody, you can't finish the line without saying, with your baby. Yeah. And then we have McKinley Jackson, who, well, you know he's a friend of the show. He's been on my show 150 times.
That's about right.
But yeah, but McKinley, you and you and Melvin met a long time ago. Did you know Ken?
Oh, I knew Ken actually before I knew Melvin. Excuse me. I knew Ken before I knew Melvin. Yeah. As Ken mentioned earlier, when they auditioned for the chairman of the board, I was in charge of the music for the company at that time, Holland Ocean Holland. But back then, too, it was Harrison, Danny, and General, and Eddie Custis. Eddie Custis, originally, yeah. There's 4 of them originally, yeah. Okay. Unique guys, great voices.
Well, Melvin, you have quite a story on the fact that your mother was making you stay in college. And you were, when did you all start writing, or did you play an instrument? Tell me.
Well,
loud to my Facebook Live.
Okay. Mervyn and I began our music career when we were 9 years old. Every Saturday night, we would take baths together. We were big enough to get in tub together.
Oh, really?
And we would try to emulate the music that we heard on the radio. Uh-huh. When we finally decided to take our show on the road, we went down to the living room on the second floor, and my mother would yell up, "Stop all that racket! You sound like a pack of wild dogs!" But that was the beginning, and we would sing all during high school. I remember one night my brother and I were supposed to sing on a talent show in a town called Sewickley, and at the last minute I started thinking, I want to see my sweetie. So I didn't go to the show.
You did not show up because you wanted to see a girl?
Yes. And I went, but when I got back around 2 o'clock in the morning, I said, well, who won that talent show? And he said, your brother, man, he got down on his knees. He was singing Your Precious Love for Your Precious Love, and the women were running up. Boy, was I jealous.
Wow. That's a great great story. That is a great story. So you live in Pittsburgh now?
I'm originally from L.A., lovely Aliquippa.
Where's that?
That's where Henry Mancini came from, lovely Aliquippa. Tony Dorsett came from lovely Aliquippa. There's one of my former students, Ty Law, whom I taught in high school, is from Aliquippa. In fact, Aliquippa has put more people in the NFL than any town in America.
Wow, maybe my grandson should move to Aliquippa.
Yeah, there's something in the water there, man.
Oh, wow. I told my daughter them about that. So, okay, that's very interesting.
But we got into the record business when we went to Cheney State College.
Cheney State.
And one of our classmates was Eddie Holman that sang Hey There, Lonely Girl.
Hey there, lonely girl. Why do I have to sing every song? I don't know, it's just a bad habit.
No, it's good music. It's always good to sing good music. But he was walking through an area on the campus called a snack bar one day, and when he walked by my brother Mervyn, Mervyn stuck his leg out and tripped him.
Why did you do that?
To meet him.
Oh.
And they met, and Eddie taught my brother a lot about how to play the piano, how to structure songs, and every building on the campus that had a piano, they would be in there playing until they threw them out because they was making too much noise. But Eddie Holman took my brother and a brother named Chip Porter, Raymond Chip Porter, down to Philly, to up on North Broad Street, to a studio. I can't think of the guy's name right now, but that's where Eddie recorded, and that's where we met Norman Harris. We met Ronnie Baker, the bass player, and my dear friend Earl Young, who's still with us. And that got us into that Philly sound. And eventually we made a recording in 1967 called I'm Not Strong Enough, which wasn't a hit in the States, but went to England and became a huge record. And in fact, 3 years ago, they flew us to England.
Wow.
I told them, but if my wife doesn't get on the plane, Dr. Steels is not getting on the plane. So we all went to England in a little sailboat.
So tell me about Could It Be I'm Falling in Love with Your Baby?
Well, back in the day, my brother and I had a group, and we used to go up to a studio called Steel City. And Steel City, that's where we met, what will it come to me?
You met him.
No, it was a young lady, Phyllis Hyman.
Oh,
Phyllis,
Hyman.
I used to work with Phyllis.
Yeah, we used to write songs for her at the studio. And Columbia Records was interested in Steel City, so they sent down Billy Jackson. Billy Jackson produced The Times. He produced Peaches and Herb. And they sent down Paul Leka. He produced
The Times.
Yeah.
I'm so in love.
Yeah.
Are we two that
Yeah.
I don't know what to do?
Brenda knows them all. She knows them all.
I know these songs.
And the Billy Jackson and Paul Leka, they wanted us to write songs. Billy Jackson wanted a song for Peaches and Herb. And at that time, Tammy Terrell was a very good friend of ours. She was from Philly. And we knew her, so we wrote a song for Peaches and Herb, and we were hoping that maybe Tammy could get us into Motown and she and Marvin could sing it. So we wrote the song, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love. The song is so long because it was a duet. But word came back to us that Peaches and Herb said that they could write a better song. And to which I say, praise the Lord.
Right. I know you do. I want to give a shout out to Philly, too, because I have Jordan Catchings here. She's a young lady getting ready to graduate in Pennsylvania, and me and her mother went to grade school and graduated from high school together, and she's in this week. I guess she's leaving tonight to go back to Philly, right? And she's She's getting ready to go to college and everything. And this was a great day. So I have all these Philly people in the studio. Me and McKinley, we Detroit.
And Kenneth.
And Kenneth. But Kenneth deserted us for South Carolina. So what did you feel? You know, I'm thinking about the 5 Heartbeats when you first heard the song on the radio.
Boy, it was, just hearing it on the radio, but hearing it in the studio, when you're sitting in the control room and you hear your music pouring out of those speakers, it's awesome. You just can't believe what you're hearing.
Now,
let me ask you one question. Who did you write the song for, Melvin? Who was it dedicated to?
I wrote the song.
Sounds very personal.
It was for my wife, Adrena. When I first met her, we met because a friend of ours in high school said, I'm going to take you guys up to the city and introduce you to some of those pretty girls in Pittsburgh. By 7 o'clock at night, he had struck out. In desperation, he called my wife, who had just broken up with his best friend, and somehow he inveigled a way to get us there. And we got there, and we stood out on the porch, and we agreed one of us was going to stay there at her house, and the other 2 were going to go to meet some other girl.
Men are something.
And my brother and I flipped the coin, and that made all the difference in the world.
I'm not sure if you should have said that, though.
That was the best thing that ever happened to her.
And how long ago was that? How long ago was that?
How long ago? Tell them how many years you've been married.
On November 4th, Adrena and I will have been married for 50 years.
Yeah, let's give him a hand for 50 years, everybody. Yes, we have an audience today. Okay, how did you meet McKinley and Ken?
Well, there's a saying I have, we're one person away from meeting someone we need to know. There was a lady that worked at Atlantic Records named Brenda Evans. And I don't know how my brother met her, but he met her and she worked for Henry Allen. And Henry Allen.
Who's Henry Allen?
Henry Allen, if you ever watched the movie Ray, when they're in the studio with Ray Charles, that brother sitting in there, that was Henry Allen.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Henry Allen had
He's
just...
one of the pioneer black executives in the record business. You don't hear his name as much as Barry Gordy and those type of guys, but Henry Allen was one of the first and one of the biggest guys. And to make a long story short, he brought us in to do the impressions. Yeah.
He was we sat around the table with the impressions. We were all waiting for Al Bell to show up. Al Bell was supposed to produce the album. 5 minutes, no Al Bell. 20 minutes, no Al Bell. Half an hour, no Al Bell. So Henry Allen said, well, McKinley Jackson is going to produce.
That's how we started. That's how we started.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, we went out to California, and McKinley put together some tremendous musicians, Ray Parker Jr., Lee Ritenour, even
Ritenour.
Yeah, he played on it. Yeah. And one of the greatest thrills of my life, when we used to pretend to be musicians, I would always try to emulate, what's the bass player, that famous bass player?
James Jamerson.
James Jamerson.
Yeah.
James Jamerson played on 2 of our songs.
One of the original Funk Brothers. And speaking of Funk Brothers, we have Johnny Griffith's daughter in the studio, Beth Griffith. You all should know her. She was in my play. She was the lead in my play. And, of course, she has her own album out called Free now, so the apple doesn't fall real far from
Yeah, she sang on background vocals on these songs.
Yeah.
Wow, I love her.
And she's got about 20 commercials on TV, too.
Hey, Beth was my 10%.
I know. So, what about Ken?
Again, we're one person away from knowing someone we need to know. McKinley arranged for a 3-way phone call several years ago, and I met Ken via the telephone, and then he invited us down to North Carolina to the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame Awards. They were honoring Gerald Alston.
Oh, okay.
And we went down, Adrena and I, and we were Ken's guests, and it was natural. He's like a brother. We all are brothers, and
Yeah, they're responsible for what Thomas and Brandon and I have today. McKinley and Melvin and his brother.
Now, McKinley, oh, we have Neil back on the line from England. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, Brenda.
Hi again.
I had to call back. Now you have McKinley and Melvin on there. Listen, guys, I'd just like to thank you for believing in Ken and the boys, and what a fantastic record you've pressed.
A fantastic what?
Record.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
what I like about Ken and the chairman of the board, these brothers can really sing.
Oh, really? I was going to mention that. They can really sing.
There's some people, they got a machine that can make nobody sound like a somebody.
But they can sing. All three of them can really sing.
And that's the greatest compliment coming from these two guys, that they have the confidence in myself, Thomas, and Brandon to lend their talents to keep this legacy going.
You know, the music of the past, present, I got to call it present too. It lives on, and it's the basis. A lot of it is the basis of everything that's coming out today. But some of the things that are coming out today aren't as good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if they'll ever reach that classic.
Well, they'll have to go back. That's what's happening. They have to go back retro and get the best of the best, and that's what they're doing now. Some of the guys that are, even Kendrick Lamar, people that are doing things now, and The Weeknd, they're actually redoing the old Motown Philly type music things and adding a new twist to it, because I have no problem with the hip hop and all of that. But can I say one thing? Neil is one of the best people I've met in England. You might have the Queen, but I got Neil Duggins. He's a highlight of England. Whenever I go to England or the UK, for sure, that's Neil Duggins right there, and Jackie.
Yep. God, I guess I got to get over there, because I mean, really, because I'm Neil's fan too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Neil,
obviously, you have to bring Stefan Tazlo.
You have to be what kind of traveler?
If he's going to bring you over, he has to bring Steph and Taz.
Well, why don't you come over here?
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We're all here.
And Jackie will hear it.
Jackie what?
Listen, I say you've just said that, and Jackie will hear it.
Oh, yeah, Jackie, come on over. I got an extra bedroom. You all can stay with me.
Melvin's already offered that, and I won't forget.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling back, Neil.
All right.
Thank you, Neil.
Take care.
Take care, Neil.
So,
okay.
So you, McKinley, and Mervin started doing some things, correct?
Yeah, we have this concept that we call Mo Philly.
Yeah.
We're from Philadelphia, or we're Philadelphia writers, and McKinley was Motown writer, and we came up with this concept. So we do part of the recording here in Detroit, and we do the other part, like the rhythm section, we do it down in Philly. We have a brother named Alfie Pollard, who is Teddy Pendergrass's keyboard player. We have Jimmy Williams, the bass player for the OJs. We have Robert Wawa LeGrand, who was Teddy's guitar player. And we have Lonnie Berry. He is the brother of the gentleman that's the leader of the Times. And I can't think of his name right now, but that rhythm section.
I love the Times. You know, what's that song, a cappella?
It was.
I think it was.
It was a cappella,
snaps
but you could hear bass or something in the background.
Very little, very little.
Yeah.
I remember that.
You might be right.
At first, I said, I don't know if I like this song. It didn't have enough music, you know. Motown. I have to hear the Funk Brothers. Always have to hear the Funk Brothers.
Well, he mentioned Jimmy Williams. Jimmy is the bass player, and I think he's watching too. I saw on the live. He's watching too.
Hey, Jimmy.
So shout out to Jimmy Williams.
Absolutely.
If you want to call, 313-868-4336 or 313-868-0351.
Jimmy is also pulling for us. I get messages from Jimmy all the time. and he's pulling for us, and that's good to know.
And he's one of the original bass players in the Philadelphia sound.
Well, you know, let's talk about what I think is a real problem, and that's the fact that we have local artists who are great singers, make great music. I mean, this is really R&B music, and like the music you have and so forth, and the stations aren't playing it like they should. What do you think the issue is?
Well, there's these, is there something called Clear Channel and iHeart?
Yeah, the big, yeah.
Well, they have these tight playlists, and you can't get on the air for them. It's amazing, like the OJs not so long ago did a really great album.
Right.
And these people that play their oldies every day, if it wasn't for these brothers, they wouldn't be on
have
it.
a station.
And you would think that here these brothers need to work, and if you would just have a then and now segment, either once an hour or once a week, where people can hear what they did and what they're doing now, that would create a revenue stream for these brothers. It's really is age discrimination. We ought to file a lawsuit.
Yeah, you know, but you know, it's interesting because somebody was telling me they were at a concert, old school concert. One thing about the old school concerts, people love them. They're well attended.
That they are.
Because McKinley, you were the musical director for the Temptations till recently.
For about 7 years. I just came out of Australia, and I retired just for a month
You're
ago.
too young to retire.
That's my second or third retirement. I was with Marvin. I retired from. He left me, but I was with Marvin.
Were you with him when he died?
Yeah. I did his.
Oh my God.
I did the Sexual Healing album with them.
Nice,
So.
nice.
Sexual healing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Let's make love tonight. But so, you know, what do you think about that?
What the radio play is just a reflection. Like at one time, it's hard to get R&B on. And that was with the racial profiling and stuff like that at that point in time. But right now, I think it's we have to find the right stations that play, like you say, the oldies but goodies, or retro music, or good music. And so many of them are predicated on the hip hop idiom that you know, it's rough. I think I don't really have an answer for that. You know, it's just.
Well, how did these songs become hits in England?
Oh, England is a lot different. You could take that, Ken, because they love.
They love R&B,
music, yeah.
American music.
Yeah.
And they will play it till the end. You know?
And not only that, they want to know who played the bass, who played the drums, who played the piano. How does Jameson wear his hat? How does he sit? I mean, they're really into the music, not just the star mentality that America has in that sense of the lead singer who's out front. They want to know the mechanics of the music. I mean, they love the music. They love the music from the top to the bottom. That's the difference.
Yes.
And they remember you, like Melvin said. What may not be a hit here, like Jimmy Ruffin. And Edwin Starr, they went over there and they lived like kings.
Right.
Yeah, over there where they couldn't get a shot here. And that's been often the case. Bobby, discovered the Jackson 5.
Bobby Taylor?
Bobby Taylor is in
wow.
China. Yeah, Bobby, I'm just saying they couldn't make it here, but they go over there. So it's a big sacrifice, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
And when we went to England to perform several years ago, those people treated us like we were the Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
I heard somebody say, I heard somebody yell out in the crowd, he sounds like the real record. And my daughter-in-law went, she had never seen this round, funny old man singing on stage. She was there with her mouth gaped open, eyes wide. She couldn't believe it. It was just an unbelievably good experience for us.
Well, I was going to say these old school concerts, and they have, somebody was saying they were working one and said the actual out on stage. Everybody, when they get off stage, they have their cane. Their canes in the corner, and they reach out and
I don't know about that. There's a lot of Bengay going around.
But I think because because there are so many internet stations who have great listenership, you should maybe try that too, because the internet, it's with those apps, it's so easy to listen to anything anywhere.
Well, Melvin and Adrena actually addressed that for the most part. They're developing that, and on top of that, and securing people to facilitate us in that area.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great, because just because you reach a certain age doesn't mean you have to just pull up the rug and just end. You still have the talent. If you could still healthy enough to get out there and do it, just do it.
There you go.
You know.
A great place for people like Ken to go is into these schools, in these middle schools, high schools, elementary schools. Last week, my wife and I went to our granddaughter's school, charter school, for Black History Month, and at the end, I sang, "Could It Be I'm Falling in Love with a Track?" and got a tremendous thing. In fact, Ken, you ought to take me to England so I could go around and put my hat on and get some of them pounds.
Well, I want us to kind of slide up a little bit, and I want some of the guests who are in the studio to come up here and come and stand behind us. And come on, Brandon.
Thomas.
I mean, Brandon and Thomas. I know their names.
No, Thomas.
She ain't that old, McKay.
He had a conversation going.
Come on up, baby.
Adrena.
Come on.
How about that?
Come on up, Jordan. Come on up, Jordan. Come on, back up, Mrs. Jackson. Of course Beth could come. I didn't have to tell her.
That's automatic.
Any camera, Jeff, she fine. She gets on. So,
hey,
come on, Jordan.
Tammy Terrell taught me that success will never come and seek you out.
Now, who are these two?
This is our promotion person.
Jerome Cunningham and his wife. What is it? Murders. Pleased to meet you. I'm Brenda. Everybody, we're gonna take a picture. Audience, I just wanted you to see, and I gotta thank Kayla and Jasmine. They have just been great. My support, and Michelle this morning. Let's look and say cheese. Everybody on television, watch us.
Cheese.
Cheese. This is such a pleasure, and Jasmine, thank you, Jasmine. And I hope you guys enjoyed coming to, those of you who came in from out of state, I really appreciate it, coming to Detroit, and I hope you've enjoyed the show.
All I can say is, let's do it again.
Do it again.
Or do it till you're satisfied.
And yeah, I just think this was a wonderful time, and I appreciate everybody being here and coming on. I hope it was worth your time. We'll have this show up on YouTube eventually, and you can just circulate it throughout the world. So we're going to get ready to say goodbye. The hour went too quickly. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure.
My pleasure.
Some
Always
things
a
are
pleasure.
worth waiting for, and you're definitely one of them.
Melvin's a writer. You know he's a writer.
Me too. I'll see you next week. Oh, Henry,
that's right.
Henry Tyler just had a surgery, and we want to shout out to Henry.
Yeah,
Get well
sure.
soon.
Get well.
We
Get
need
well.
you here. You know I miss you, and we all wish you the best.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Each night I pray there will never come a day when you up and take your love away. Say you feel the same way too. I wonder what it is I feel for you. Would you, baby?
3BY, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan.